What would you do if someone twice your size, a violent predator feared by everyone, targeted your sister? Most people would be too afraid to fight back. But my dad wasn't most people. At just 19 years old, he took justice into his own hands and changed our entire village forever. If you've ever dreamed of seeing real justice served, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a like if you believe monsters should never go unpunished. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? Because today you're about to hear a story where fear met fury, and fury won. My dad passed away just 20 days ago. The pain is still raw, the kind that hits you in waves when you least expect it. But what softens that pain is remembering the kind of man he was. My hero, a man who never backed down from protecting the people he loved. And among the many stories he told, there's one that burned itself into my memory. It's not just about anger, it's about justice. It's about what happens when evil crosses the wrong person. My dad was the youngest of 9 siblings. Imagine that, 6 brothers, 2 sisters, and him, the baby of the family. Being the youngest meant he was loved and spoiled. But it also meant he was fiery, quick-tempered, and constantly trying to prove himself. When he was 19, one of his older sisters, we'll call her C, was newly married. Her husband was a soldier, posted far away on the border, which left her living with his family, as tradition often dictated, and within that household was a man everyone feared, her brother-in-law. We'll call him a four-a-hole. Trust me, that's still too kind. A was a predator in every sense of the word. 6-footed mountain of muscle, built like a tank. And infamous in the village. He was a thug, an extortionist, and worst of all, a predator of women. His reputation wasn't just whispers, it was cold, hard fear. When my Aunt C entered that home, she became his newest obsession. Harassed. Her relentlessly demanding she'll sleep with him. Every no was met with more aggression, more intimidation. And the family, they turned a blind eye. No one dared confront him. Weeks passed, and my aunt's spirit crumbled. She was exhausted, terrified, and alone. Till one day she confided in a nephew, just 18 himself. He listened, horrified, then went straight to my dad. My dad heard what was happening. He didn't hesitate. His blood boiled, his fists clenched. And in that moment, a fire lit inside him that no fear could extinguish. But even he knew he couldn't take it down alone. So he gathered a group, friends, nephews, anyone young and brave enough to stand with him, 6 of them in total. And the plan? Well, it wasn't much of a plan. There was no clever strategy, no careful calculation. Just raw, furious determination. They'd wait until A was drunk, catch him on the dark village roads, and teach him a lesson he'd never forget. So they prepared. They drank too, not for fun, but for courage. Liquid fire to numb the fear clawing at their stomachs. And then, in the dim light of a village road with spotty electricity, they waited. Finally, he appeared. A massive, staggering, but still terrifying even in his drunken state. The boys pounced. Fists flew. Kicks landed. The night filled with grunts, shouts, and the raw chaos of a street brawl. But even drunk, A fought like a monster. His sheer size and strength turned the fight into a whirlwind of pain. Then things got worse. A's minions appeared, thugs who followed him like shadows. What was supposed to be 6 against 1 quickly became a desperate free-fall. And in the middle of it, my dad, 19 drunk, enraged, spotted a piece of wood on the ground. Without thinking, without hesitation, he gripped it tight, lifted it high, slammed it down on his skull with every ounce of fury in his body. The crack echoed through the night. For a split second, silence. Then chaos erupted again. Realizing reinforcements were coming, the boys ran, adrenaline pumping, hearts pounding. My dad made it home, stumbling through the door. He cleaned himself up, showered, and went to bed like nothing happened. But the morning brought reality. Confessed to his mother what had gone down. Before he could finish, word spread, cops were looking for him. His mother told him to lay low. But the damage was done. A had survived the night. He made it to the hospital, battered and broken, but alive enough to give a statement. Suddenly, my dad was on the run. Days blurred together as he hid, constantly looking over his shoulder, until one day he gave up. And not because of guilt, not because he regretted what he'd done, but because, in his own words, I was tired of eating crappy food. Right? My dad literally turned himself in just to get a decent meal in jail. That was the kind of man he was. Fearless, brutally honest, and somehow still funny in the darkest of times. The case dragged, but in the end it was dismissed. I survived, but barely. The head injury haunted him. Months later, it claimed his life. And here's the part my dad loved to emphasize. After. That night, after that fight, after that one decisive swing of a wooden stick, not a single woman in that village was ever harassed again. My dad never expressed regret. None. Zero. In his eyes, justice had been served. The predator was gone. His sister was safe, and the shadow that had loomed over the women of the village had been shattered forever. He'd tell the story with a glint in his eye, not as a confession, but as a badge of honor. Because for him, that night wasn't about revenge alone. It was about drawing a line in the sand. A line that said, no more. Not here, not ever again. And the village remembered. When I think of my dad now, I think of that story. Not because of the violence, but because of the courage it took to face a monster everyone else feared. Because sometimes justice isn't neat. Sometimes it's messy. But when done for the right reasons, it can change everything. What do you think? Was my dad right to take matters into his own hands? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If you enjoyed this story of true justice, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that even the biggest monsters can fall.